Welcome, everyone, to Daniel Krug and Associates Wealth Management Review for October 8th, 2020. Today's presentation is entitled Election Tax Planning, and this is a pre-recorded event, and I will touch on that in just 1 second here. My name is Rocky Istvan. I'm the Chief Compliance Officer and Associate Wealth Manager at Daniel Krug and Associates. Daniel Krug, CEO and Senior Wealth Manager, will be joining me in a little bit to help out with the presentation. I'm just going to remind you that this presentation is for informational and illustrative purposes only. It is not a solicitation and should not be considered investment or tax advice. If you have any questions, please just give us a call in the office and we will help you out with that. We're looking at 30 to 40 minutes today of this presentation. There's a lot of data that's going to be covered, so we hope you learn a lot. Again, this session is being pre-recorded because we are actually in the middle of moving back into the office, and a lot is going on in the office this week, so getting ready for a reopening. Again, everyone is muted. There is no chat room this week only, so just remember that. And we want to thank CNR and the Capital Group for their contributions to the data that we're presenting today. Let's move on. A reminder that wealth management basically encompasses many things to many different people, but what it means to us is you have to have a foundation of a solid investment strategy, and that's that big overriding bar on top here. But how we differentiate ourselves from other firms is we really get into the advanced planning, and we found that's really where you can maximize your performance and your net worth over time. And those strategies are things like wealth enhancement, and you can see the subcategories there. Wealth transfer strategies, wealth protection strategies, and about a third of our clients are charitably inclined, so there's many things we can do from a charitable aspect to maximize your wealth and minimize your taxes. So today's agenda, we're going to cover major developments that have taken place this past week, an update on COVID-19, and then we're going to get into the impact of tax policy on income and investing and some of the opportunities and strategies that you can take advantage of as things change. So let's start with the major developments in the past week. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive. I'm going to hop off here so that you can see the full screen. So again, President Trump has COVID. He tested positive for it. The latest is he was released from the doctors and is back in the White House, but that's something we're going to keep an eye on. The GOP is moving ahead on the Barrett confirmation for the Supreme Court, and Democrats are trying to come up with ways to stall that process. We'll see how this plays out. Unemployment dropped again this week to 7.9%, so we're under 8%. So that is moving in the right direction. COVID-19 death rate also has dropped. It's dropped below 1,000 to 900 on the 7-day moving average. So that's pretty significant considering where we were just about 6 months ago. And the Michigan Supreme Court ruled on Friday that Governor Whitmer had no authority to issue or renew the executive orders relating to COVID beyond April 30th. And again, there's other changes that have come subsequent to that. And we're not going to be able to get into all of it, but I'm sure that's going to be something that's going to continue this week to play out and how we have to respond to the orders coming out of the government. So I'm going to kick us off with a COVID-19 update. Basically, we're going to start with Michigan first, since that's our home state. And as you can see in this slide, Michigan is divided into 8 regions. And it's basically the colors represent the risk level. So from light to dark, low risk to high risk. And you can see that where the Detroit area used to be the hot spot, that actually is moving away, and that area is flattening and improving. The Traverse City area is improving, but central Lower Peninsula around Lansing actually has an increase in the spread, and as does the Upper Peninsula. So what it's going to take to actually reopen, we're not clear on yet. Again, there's a lot of wrangling going on between the government branches right now, and we'll see how this all plays out. When we're going to look at two things in the state of Michigan. First is the number of cases, and then the second is the death rate. So the first slide here is based off of the number of new cases, and you can see that new cases have gone down, but kind of leveled off after the end of summer. And we see a slight little bit of a increase in September, but then it's starting to drop off again going into October. We're testing over 30,000 people a day for COVID. So you're going to get a higher case reading just from the number of tests that are going on. When we look at the number of deaths, though, however, it's very much different. We've had a 96% drop in the average number of deaths, April 12th through September 29th. So even though the cases, because the number of tests are going up or at least staying at a higher level, we obviously have figured out different ways to manage through this and keep the death rate continuing to slightly go down. Let's take a broader view and look at the U.S. and the world. And what you're going to see here is the total United States. Again, this is cases that were reported to the CDC on a 7-day moving average. And I like to just kind of follow the red trend line here and see that back in April, we kind of started to come down, but then going into the summer, the United States kind of spiked. If you remember, a lot of that was in the South and Southwest where it wasn't originally at the beginning of the pandemic. It came back down and slightly went up a little bit. Again, a lot of testing is going on, and that's what's creating the number of cases to basically increase. But when we look at this trend line, it seems like overall it's moving in a positive or flattening direction. Let's look at the death rate relationship to that now. And what you can see is that the death rate is gradually declining over time right through last week. So we're on the right path as far as how to deal with the virus and to mitigate its impact, the deaths that are a result of it. And we've learned a lot, since we've been in this. So I think there's been a lot of improvements in the way doctors and hospitals and everybody has been taking care of things, the social distancing, everything's played into keeping this relatively low compared to where we were at. When we look at the overall cases around the world, you can actually see that going into the summer, the cases were going up. And it's hard to see the trend line behind that 7-day moving average of 287,847, but it appears to be flattening out there as far as the number of new cases. So that could be a good sign. And when we look at the daily deaths worldwide, that also, the trend line, which is the light colored line floating through the bars, seems to be moving in the right direction. We are continuing to go down in the death rate due to COVID.